ask everyone to please be seated. This meeting of the Community Development Board is called to order on March 21st, 2023. At this time, I'd like you all to please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This board consists of 7 members and 1 alternate who are appointed by the City Council and serve voluntarily. I am John Quattrocchi, and I will ask the other members and the staff to introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Andrew Caudell.
O'Bray, Hood Report.
Jay Daniel, Attorney for the Board.
Rosemary Call, City Clerk.
Matt Minnich, Assistant City Attorney.
Gina Clayton, Planning and Development.
Diane Antonelli.
Bruce Rector.
Andy Park.
This board consists of 7 members and 1 alternate. Already did that. Please remember to turn off your cell phones so that they do not become a distraction during the meeting. Please also refrain from having conversations in this room so that we might hear all the testimony given today. To ensure a complete record of this board's actions, we ask that each individual wishing to speak, including the applicant, speak into the microphone at the podium in front of us. State your name and spell your last name for the clerk. Now, I will ask all those in attendance today who plan to speak to please rise and be sworn in by the clerk.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
I do.
Agendas of today's meetings are on the podium to your left near the entry door. Also on this podium are a roster of the Community Development Board, the list of city staff experts and their resumes, the board's rules of procedure, and the annual schedule of this board. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. Do I have a motion for the minutes?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, there's an opportunity for anyone to be heard regarding any items that are not on today's agenda. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to bring a matter before the board? Seeing none. This board, the consent agenda is next. This board has adopted a consent agenda format, and the consent items are identified as such on the agenda.
Can I interrupt you? Two things.
Yep.
First, on your agenda, it's not in your rules. Is there welcoming our new member?
Oh, sorry about that. My apologies, Diane. Welcome.
It's all right, thank you.
And you have 2 requests for continuance prior to
Consent. We have a request to continue to the meeting of April 18th, 2023, items 1 and 2. Item 1, case amendments to the Clearwater Downtown Redevelopment Plan. And item number 2, case TA 2023-01001, amendments to the Community Development Code. Do I have a motion to continue?
Mr. Chair, I move to continue case 1, F1, amendments to the Clearwater Downtown Redevelopment Plan, and item number 2, case TA 2023-01001, amendments to the Community Development Code to the April 18th, 2023 meeting of the Community Development Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now I'll go to the consent. This board has adopted a consent agenda format, and the consent items are identified as such on the agenda. Consent agenda items are those items for which the Planning and Development Department recommends approval. The applicant is in agreement with any proposed conditions, and no written objections to the case have been received to date. Items may be removed from the consent agenda today by a member of the board, a member of the staff, or any person in the audience for questions or objections. I will read each item on the consent agenda, and if any person wishes to remove this item from the consent agenda, please so state or raise your hand and we will remove it from the consent agenda. Items removed from the consent agenda will be heard in the regular order of the meeting. Items that remain on the consent agenda will be approved with a single vote. Item 1, case FLD 2015-09036B 400 Coronado Drive. The owner is the City of Clearwater. Triprop Clearwater LLC. Representative is Catherine E. Cole, Hill Warden Henderson. Location is 2.5997 acres, bound by South Gulfview Boulevard to the west, Coronado Drive east, 5th Street on the north, South Gulfview Boulevard right-of-way between Hamden Drive and 5th Street. The Community Development Board is reviewing a second amendment to an approved Level 2 flexible development application for the construction of a 248-unit hotel utilizing 127 existing hotel units and an additional 100 units allocated from the hotel density reserved through Beach by Design as currently approved through HDA 2014-06004 within the tourist district for the property located at 400 Coronado Drive, formerly addressed as 421 and 431 South Gulfview Boulevard. The project will be 150 feet in height, propose a minimum of 298 off-street parking spaces available for the hotel, with 230 additional off-street parking spaces available to the general public, and continues to include a proposed pedestrian overpass bridge extending between the subject site and 430 South Gulfview Boulevard, spanning Beach Walk and the South Gulfview Boulevard right-of-way as previously approved. The project requests allowable flexibility from height, setbacks requirements, and design guidelines of Beach by Design and a 2-year development order. Neighborhood associations, Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition, Board of County Commissioners, Pinellas County School Board, Clearwater Beach Association, and assigned planner is Mark T. Perry. Does anyone here wish to have this item removed from consent? Seeing none. Item 2, case LUP 2023-01001, 1849 Gulf to Bay Boulevard. The owner is Jasmine Nyack Development, LLC. Represented is Malia Storum, Bowman and Pursuit Development. Location is a 0.125 acre portion of a 1.135 acre parcel located on the south side of Gulf to Bay Boulevard, approximately 540 feet east of Keene Road. The Community Development Board is reviewing a request to amend the future land use map category from residential urban to commercial general and is making a recommendation to City Council. Neighborhood associations, Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition, Board of County Commissioners, Pinellas County School Board, Skycrest Neighborhood Association, assigned planner is Kyle Brotherton. Any removal for consent? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask you to take 2 motions on this. You have one level 2 and
Oh,
one.
my bad, sorry. Yep. So the first case, please.
Sure. I move to approve case number FLD 2015-09036B. Based on the evidence and testimony presented in the application, the staff report, and at today's hearing, and hereby adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law stated in the staff report with conditions of approval as listed.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a motion for case 2.
I'll also move to approve case LUP 2023-01001 based on the evidence and testimony presented in the application, the staff report, and at today's hearing, and hereby adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law stated in the staff report with conditions of approval as listed.
And for purposes of clarity, that motion will be to recommend approval to the City Council as a level 3 application.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right, we'll now go on to the regular agenda. There are 2 types of cases that could be heard today. Today we have only level 3 cases. These are procedures for legislative hearings. All level 3 cases, such as a plan amendment, rezoning, or development agreement, are considered legislative hearings. The Community Development Board reviews the application, the staff report, correspondence, and all evidence presented today, and makes a recommendation to City Council. For level 3 applications, the City Council makes the final decision. The procedure for all level 3 cases is as follows. Presentation by planning staff, 10 minutes. Presentation by the applicant, 10 minutes. Comments by the public, 3 minutes per person. Closing remarks by the planning and development staff, 3 minutes maximum. Closing remarks by applicant, 3 minutes maximum. Closing of the public hearing, discussion by the and vote by the board. Our first level 3 case today is case CPA 2022-10002, amendments to the comprehensive plan related to the Parks and Recreation impact fee. Applicant is City of Clearwater Parks and Recreation Department. Requests. The Community Development Board is reviewing a request to amend the City of Clearwater's comprehensive plan to address the creation of new Parks and Recreation impact fee system and is making a recommendation to the City Council. Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition, Board of County Commissioners, Pinellas County School Board. The presenter is Art Kader. If I got that right, Art.
Art Cater. Mr. Chair, at this time, I would ask that the board accept Mr. Art Cater, our interim Parks and Rec manager, as the city's expert witness in Parks and Rec impact fees. He's been working with the consultant to prepare the ordinance and the impact fees associated with it.
Move to accept Mr. Cater as an expert witness on the subject matters just conveyed.
Second.
Very good. Well, good afternoon, board members. I am Art Cater. I am the interim Parks and Recreation Director. And when I'm not doing that, I'm the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. I have been with the City of Clearwater for 43 years in the capacity of the Assistant Parks and Recreation Director. I have been involved in many master plans, developing master plans, comprehensive plans, capital improvement plans for not only the City of Clearwater, but also for the City of Largo prior to my being here. I am responsible for the development of the capital improvement plan for the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as responsible for the budgets for Parks and Recreation. Currently, that budget is $38 million. The capital plan is about $8 million. I am responsible for the administration of the impact fee system that we currently have. I was instrumental in developing that back in 1983 with the planning department at that time. So I've been involved in it since '83 and through all that time until the current time. As that is my background as an expert in this matter, I'm here today requesting your approval of really two ordinances. They're companion ordinances. The first one that you read today has to do with changing the comprehensive plan, the Parks and Recreation element of the comprehensive plan, which is Ordinance 963823. Basically, this is needed in order to change simply one section of the comprehensive plan, which is the radius of where we have to spend impact fee monies. Because as you'll see in the second one that I will continue to, can I continue to talk about both of them or go through this one first?
Why don't we talk about the comprehensive plan amendment for now, and then we can talk about the actual amendments to the code in the next item.
Okay. Well, there again, in the comprehensive plan, the only element that we are changing is the element that has to do with where funds are spent when collected, after they're collected. Basically, we are changing, because of Chapter 54, the recreation fees will be able to be spent citywide and not to the radiuses that they are required. The radius right now that is required is you must spend, if you collect money, you must spend it 1 mile for a neighborhood park, within 2 miles for a community park, or anywhere in the city for a resource-based park or for a special facility. Those are the limitations currently. In the new ordinance that we will be proposing, we have one district. The district is the City of Clearwater. The funds can be spent anywhere in the city. That is basically the change to the comprehensive plan. Any questions you might have?
I don't think so. Anybody? No? I guess I go straight to comments from the public. If there's anybody that has any comments from the public on this, you're welcome to step forward. If not, obviously, if there's any closing remarks, I don't think there's any questions about it. Before it was just localized, so if you collected funds from Ross Norton Park that were there, it had to be within that vicinity, or is it John, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then closing of the public hearing on this matter. Discussion and vote by the board. We have a motion.
Chairman, I move to recommend to the Clearwater City Council approval of proposed ordinance number 9638-23, which would amend the City of Clearwater's comprehensive plan to address the creation of a new parks and recreation impact fee system, and is making a recommendation to the City Council to that effect. Based upon the item, the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and the information provided to this board in the staff report.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. I'll go on to the second case. Item number 2, case TA 2022-10002, amendments to the Community Development Code related to the Parks and Recreation Impact Fee. Applicant is the City of Clearwater Parks and Recreation Department. The Community Development Board is reviewing a request to amend the City of Clearwater's Community Development Code to replace Chapter 54 in its entirety with the revised Chapter 54, creating a new Parks and Recreation Impact Fee system, and is making recommendation to the City Council. Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition, Board of County Commissioners, Pinellas County School Board, presenter Art Kader.
Mr. Chair, at this time, I would ask that the board accept Mr. Art Cater as the city's expert witness in impact fees relating to Parks and Recreation.
Move to accept Mr. Cater as an expert witness.
Thank you, Board. Art Cater, Interim Parks and Recreation Director. By the way, I'm supposed to spell my name, Kader. You got it? All right. Well, that's what he's told me to do. But all serious. The current Chapter 54 ordinance has served the city well over these 40 years since it was adopted in 1983. Under this ordinance, basically, the city has collected $17.5 million, which is about $440,000 a year, in Parks and Recreation impact fees to go to assist in the development of parks, mainly purchases of land. Of that amount, about $3 million is for recreation facilities, and the remaining amount is for the purchase of land. During that time, we purchased the Lake Chautauqua Equestrian Park, the Joe DiMaggio Complex, the Ray Green Park expansion, Sewell Road Park, Bay Park on Sand Cay, Saul's Lake property. That's where there's a future park, a neighborhood park, hopefully. State Street Park, Camp Reed, which is basically south of Lake Chautauqua. Del Oro Park Trailhead is one of the most recent ones. We just opened that within the last month. And then also we have purchased some land near Eddie C. Moore complex. So as you can see, this ordinance has been very good through the years, and it was at a time of basically rapid growth. There was land available. We're in a situation now where we don't have that land available anymore, and we're in a redevelopment mode. Therefore, it's time for a change. Not only that, but the Florida Impact Fee Act requires that the ordinance be based on current data. And obviously, since it hadn't been changed in a long time, it's not been based on current data. To that end, we hired the firm of Tyndall Oliver, now Benich, out of Tampa, as our consultant. They did a complete plan review. They did a technical report for the city, and that's what this is based on, the ordinance that was coming to you. They documented all of the conditions, the current conditions of the population, size of population, the demographics of the entire city. They looked at all of our recreation facilities, the land that we have. They made a cost analysis on the land that we have and projected the current ordinance that is before you. I worked closely with them during the process and actually verified the results that they presented to us. In other words, sometimes they present it, but I wanted to follow up and make sure. We called some of the cities that we compared the data with to make sure that it was accurate, and it is. I believe that the proposed impact fee system before you today is an equitable fee system. It's based on current data to meet the future parks and recreation growth in the city. Now, the analysis that we provided to the board is detailed and compared in every section. However, I'm not going to go through the detailed comparison today, but I would like to review the major differences with you and how it will impact developers or people that come and develop in the city. The current system is cumbersome, at best, confusing, it's difficult to understand, and any developer that's come in and tried to say, well, what's my impact fee, Parks and Recreation impact fee, understands that. The new code will be simpler, it'll be easier to understand and to administer. So here are the differences I'd like to go over. Under the current under the current ordinance, there are 3 fees. There's recreation facility fee, recreation facility land fee, and open space fee. Basically, when a developer comes to me, they say, what do I owe? I said, well, if you're commercial or non-residential, the only fee that we look at is open space fee. They have to be 1 acre or more, otherwise they don't pay anything. The rest of the fees, if you're residential, there are 3 fees. The first fee is an easy one. It's recreation facility. You just pay $200 per unit. You come in, you have a single-family home, $200. You come in, you have 10 homes, $2,000. So that's easy. The second one, a little more difficult, but you take the units times 150 square feet times the value of your land, and that's the fee you would owe. Again, that's for any development of 8 units or more. So anybody that's simply a single-family home doesn't pay that. But of 8 units or more, they would have to pay that. The open space of the third one would have to pay basically up to 4% of their land value in the impact fee. And there's a lot of nuances to all of that, but in general, that's what's set out for that. And that's also overnight accommodations is included with residential developments. Under the new fee system, basically, we're going to just simply 1 fee. Getting rid of 3, going to 1 fee, and it's a type, let's see, put this up this way. Okay, so under the new ordinance, basically we are eliminating non-residential developments. They will not be required to pay impact fees and also overnight accommodations. However, any residential unit will have to pay a single fee. In other words, you come in to the permitting department now, they say, what's my impact fee? You have a chart right there. You can go right to the ordinance. Anybody can do that. If it's a single family detached, $3,021. Mobile home, $1,847. Multifamily is usually, right now, that's where a lot of the major development is. It would be $2,024 per unit. So if you have a 100 unit, it's going to be times 2,024. If you have 400 units or 500 units, it gets up there to well over $1 million that they'd be paying. But again, it's based on dwelling units, okay, per dwelling unit. So basically, we're going from 3 to 1. Next, the fees collected, again, under the old ordinance, we just went through that with the comp plan. I shared with you they had to be spent in certain areas. And now it's can be spent anywhere in the city of Clearwater. The next change is that affordable housing units under the old ordinance were charged the impact fee. Under the new ordinance, there'll be an exemption for affordable housing, as well as a 50% reduction for multifamily housing units. Under the old ordinance, exemptions were given to projects that were constructed in the CRA district, down here. Under the new ordinance, that has been eliminated. We will be, because there's a lot of development going on, a lot of people, so that will be eliminated in the new ordinance. Under the old ordinance, again, I shared with you the estimate of trying to get that was very difficult and complex. And actually, there's only one person in the city knows how to do that, right here. So, if something happens to me, if you don't pass this ordinance, that means I got to train somebody else how to do this, okay? We should have had several other people, but hey, if you do pass this, it's easy. I mean, you can see how easy it is. Even, I don't know, maybe permitting can do it, planning can do it. No, any event, all right, moving right along, I'm in trouble already. Okay, so, but under now, anybody can go in here and check it out and see what it is. The payment of fees under the old ordinance is a date when the vertical building goes up, is when they have to pay the fee. In other words, they can go all the way through the process, which you're a part of that usually, but they pay it just before the vertical building goes up. They can pay it any time before that, but guess what? We're the last fee that ever gets paid. Under the new ordinance, the payment of the fees is prior to the certificate of occupancy. So CO gives them a lot more time to be able to do that. The only other thing is that credits are given either under the old ordinance or under the new ordinance. There's a whole series of credits that can be given, basically one for one. You tear down a house or a house was there before, we don't charge you to put another house there. There's a credit for that. The new ordinance will take effect 90 days after the second reading and adoption by the council, or September the 1st, 2023, whichever is later. I think that's it. I'm available for questions if you might have any.
Just a general, if you could, following along, just for clarity. On the parks, you got the facility, the land, and the open space.
Correct.
How does it compare, the new proposed fee structure, how does it compare percentage-wise, just generally with the existing fee structure that's there for like the same project?
I would say the impacts are different for whatever type of development you are, doing, so to speak. We have run totals based on since 2020 to current, and the difference is about a 40% increase over what was basically being paid today versus if the new fees were in place. It's about a 40% increase. However, it's been 40 years as well, so it's a percentage increase over those years. So, and the other thing is that it will hit different, basically developments differently. So that's a hard. It will impact most importantly, it will impact the single-family homes more than anybody, because right now, a single-family home, $200. You can see what it would be under the new ordinance. So those developers. But we have very few of them coming through right now, at least, subdivisions, those types of things.
And that would be for a new subdivision, so to speak. So if somebody were to buy a house and tear it down and their grandfathered in.
That is correct.
Put up a single-family home, doesn't matter if it's 2,000 going to 4,000 square feet. They get the credit, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions too. So like, if you would do any expansion of your home or anything like that, again, not affected.
I would have to, I don't believe, that is not in the ordinance. It was just a one-for-one match.
Okay. It's only new development mostly, though. So we're looking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only catching anything that is new development over and above what because again, this was based on a study of what we have currently
Okay.
and what they're projecting to be in 10 years from now. So we're only figuring out what it would be from there. So we don't want to, if you tear something down and you build it back and say, we're going to double, because some of these developments have already paid impact fees.
Right.
So, sorry, just looking ahead with the world the way it is today and not saying that we've got the ideal situation for if we change a use on a property. So, in some areas, they're talking about changing a office structure. So if you were to tear down an office building and be of size of it, you're going to get an impact fee credit for bringing in a new office building, like for like we're talking. But if you had this, if you converted this office building to housing,
Right.
more than likely a credit for the existing office building would be there, and you're changing a use, or would it be totally new as the residential?
It would be totally new because it's going to residential.
Yeah.
Under this ordinance, commercial, if it was commercial to commercial, there would be no fee.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but if it is a new residential, that is what this is all based on. New residents coming to the city, not new commercial development coming to the city.
Okay.
Have you seen other cities doing the same thing? Are we comparatively doing, we're just behind, like you said, we haven't done it. Has other cities been in this situation before?
Absolutely. We compared 16 cities, other cities that have impact fee systems. And actually, the study that was done by Bennett, as far as their recommendations for the single-family homes, were initially over $4,000, which would put the city of Clearwater at the highest level. We would be like number one. And we really didn't want to do that to our residents. So as far as the study goes, we basically said, no, we're going to come down to 70% of what you've recommended, which you could come down even lower, 50 or 20%, whatever. But we believe this is a fair amount, and it's right in the middle of what all the other 16 cities are doing.
Is there a method to adjust these fees based on the economics situation?
There is. Every 5 years, we will redo this. That's part of our plan, and I think it's part of the ordinance itself. Every 5 years, we'll go back, we'll update it at that time.
So if we see new development, I mean, if it's an issue with that, we could dial it back, possibly, with the fees. Is that?
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you. Art. Any comments from the public? Do we have any discussion? Anything further? I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend to the Clearwater City Council the adoption of proposed ordinance 9639-23, amending the City of Clearwater's Community Development Code to replace Chapter 54 in its entirety, based upon the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and the staff report presented to this board today.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to director's items. The first item of business before we get to anything else is election of new officers going forward this year. And I'm going to ask Mr. Daniel over here to explain procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So in March, this board is required to elect its officers for the coming year, a chairperson and a vice chairperson. We don't have an established procedure to do that, but we have in the past used Robert's Rules of Order to do that, which means that any member of the board is able to nominate any other member of the board. You could nominate yourself if you're into that type of self-abuse as well. There's no requirement that a nomination be seconded. When the nomination period is closed and there are no more nominations, we can simply take the nominations in order and submit them to a vote. If the first vote gets you a chairperson, then we'll move on to the nomination and election for the vice chairperson. So with that, if there are nominations for the chairperson, feel free to make those.
I nominate Mr., sorry if I butchered your name, Kastras?
Q's fine.
Mr. Q is nominated. Are there any other nominations from the remainder of the board for the position of chairperson? Seeing none, you'll need a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Quattrocki as the chairperson.
I'll move to approve Mr. John Quattrocki to chairperson.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, John.
Hey, I think, thanks.
And so now we'll use the same procedure for the vice chairperson. Feel free to shout out your nominations as you see fit.
I'll nominate Bruce.
We have a nomination for
Second.
Mr. Rector. Are there additional nominations from the board? Seeing none, we'll need a motion and a second.
Move to motion to nominate Bruce for vice chair.
Motion to appoint Bruce as vice chair. Be fine. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to our officers. Your service is very much appreciated. We'll see you all in the coming year.
All right, going on. Gina, do we have anything?
I don't have anything. I do want to thank you all for agreeing to have the special meeting so that we can bring to you comprehensive plan drafts, I think, in May. Yes, so we'll look forward to those discussions.
Is that when we're supposed to have a workshop in May? Is that what it is?
Yes, we'll be bringing two separate items, one at a special meeting, the one that we think will take you a little more time to dig into, and then at your regular meeting, we'll tackle the other chapters before we move those on to city council. We are going to be having some public engagement activities in April, so stay tuned. You'll be seeing information about those coming out pretty soon.
Anything else? Anybody? This meeting is adjourned at 1:35. Thank you.
Nice job, John.